Knock on the Saints door. Quarterback sneak by Tom Brady to the 43-year-old score. He did. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Now spike that ball, Tom Brady. Who says I'm 43? He runs right up the gut and scores 6. 7. Handoff, run the ball. Fournette slashes away to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 30, 25, to the 20. Fournette to the 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Run the ball, Leonard Fournette. Wow, what a blast up the gut, found daylight, and outran everybody. Fire the cannons, get them going. Bucs win. Bucs win, Bucs win. Fire them cannons.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Swords Up podcast. Today we're going to be talking about our 31-27 win in Week 15 against the Atlanta Falcons. And boy, what a game this was. What a comeback from the Buccaneers, pretty much securing our playoff spot, barring a catastrophic collapse in the final 2 games of the season. And so today we're going to be talking about this win as well as the key stats and why we won this game. All right, so just a little bit of an injury note, and just the one injury that we really suffered in this one, and that was to Carlton Davis, who ended up leaving in the middle of this game with the groin injury, so we'll have to check out on his status during the week to see if he'll be able to play Saturday. Haven't heard anything else about the injury, so we'll just see how severe it is, how long it keeps him out for. All right, but let's get into the stats, starting out on the Falcons side of things, and I'll get into more of the game summary and the events of this game later, but they really started out hot in this one, obviously getting out to a 17-0 lead at halftime, and Matt Ryan actually started out pretty well, and in the game he finished with 34 completions on 49 attempts, 356 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he had no interceptions, but there were definitely plays in which he should have been picked off. And there was a series back-to-back in which Devin White and Jordan Whitehead both had an opportunity at an interception on back-to-back throws. Matt Ryan pretty lucky to get away with a clean game in this one. Leading rusher in this one, Ito Smith, had 6 carries for 24 yards. Matt Ryan, 1 carry for 16 yards. Todd Gurley actually only 1 carry for -1 yards. He actually had the 3rd most attempts out of running backs in this one, so that's pretty interesting. Brian Hill, 5 carries, -2 yards. So once again, nothing doing on the ground, and that'll only help out the season average for our number 1 rush defense. Leading receiver in this one was Calvin Ridley, and while we were dominant against the run in this one, pass game, again, letting up a couple big plays and some good games to opposing receivers, especially Calvin Ridley this one on his birthday. 10 catches, 163 yards, 1 touchdown. He was definitely their best player. Russell Gage was the second leading receiver, 5 catches for 68 yards and 1 touchdown. He also had a pretty good day, followed by their fullback Keith Smith, 3 catches for 32 yards. Luke Stocker, the number 2 tight end, 2 catches for 21 yards. Hayden Hurst, the number 1 tight end, 4 catches for 21 yards and 1 touchdown. Todd Gurley, 2 for 15. Laquan Treadwell, 1 for 14. Brian Hill, 2 for 9, as well as Ito Smith, 2 for 9. Brandon Powell, 2 for 5. And Christian Blake, 1 for -1. Defensively, Keanu Neal had the most solo tackles with 7. Deion Jones had the most total tackles with 10 total tackles, also having 1 for a loss and a sack. That was followed by Isaiah Oliver and Foye Oluokun with 6 total tackles, as well as Sherrod Niesman with 6 total tackles, a sack and a tackle for a loss. Also having sacks and tackles for a loss were Grady Jarrett, and then Keanu Neal with the 1 tackle for a loss, and Isaiah Oliver having a forced fumble, but no fumble recoveries for them. Younghoe Koo, 2 for 2 on field goals and 3 for 3 on extra points. Now moving into the Buccaneer side of things, and our key player for this week, and that's going to be Tom Brady. Really led the comeback charge in this one, and I mean, considering it's a comeback against the Falcons, another one for him. Obviously, the Super Bowl 51 and 28-3. I mean, who else could it be? I could give it to Devin White. He had another outstanding game, but it's just super fitting to give it to Tom Brady, and he was hot in the second half. Really came out on fire after that really slow start we had in the first half. But in this game, he finished with 31 completions on 45 attempts, 390 yards, which was the most amount of yards he's had in any game this season so far, as well as 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and having a quarterback rating of 110.4 in this one. I mean, he was pretty much the main reason why we came back into this game, along with the defense making some key stops. I mean, the throws he made down the field were just incredible, especially on that game-winning touchdown to Antonio Brown. That was just really great to see from those two hooking up. But then on the ground, Leonard Fournette didn't really do anything in the first half, but actually gave us a decent spark in the second half and gave us something on the ground in this one. Looks like we were going to be really missing Ronald Jones in this one, but Leonard Fournette stepped up pretty big. 14 carries, 49 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Keyshawn Vaughn only 2 carries for 4 yards, and Tom Brady credited with 2 carries, which came on kneel downs for -2 yards. Mike Evans, the leading receiver in this one, he had an outstanding game. 6 catches, 110 yards. Antonio Brown also had a great game. 5 catches for 93 yards and his first Buccaneer touchdown. Cameron Brate, third leading receiver, 4 catches for 51 yards. Chris Godwin, 4 catches for 36 yards and 1 touchdown. LaShawn McCoy, 3 for 32. Rob Gronkowski, 3 for 29. Scotty Miller, 3 for 20. And Leonard Fournette, 3 for 16. Leading tackler in this one was, I'd say, probably our second best player from this one, Devin White. 12 total tackles, as well as 3 sacks and 4 tackles for a loss. Second leading tackler was Carlton Davis, who did end up leaving the game early, like I said. 9 total tackles for him, followed by Jamel Dean with 6 total tackles. He also had 2 for a loss. I thought he had a really solid game, too. Also having tackles for a loss were Levante David and Shaq Barrett. And the recording passes defended were Devin White with 2, Ndamukong Suh, Jordan Whitehead, Carlton Davis, Anthony Nelson, and Antoine Winfield, who I thought also had a really good game, with 1. I just thought overall our secondary really rebounded from the rough start that they were off to in this one. I thought they made some really key plays with some good pass breakups, great tackling, and really tight pass coverage. And then Ryan Suckup, no problem for him today. 1 for 1 on field goals and 4 for 4 on extra points. So let's look at why we won this game, starting out with what got us off to that slow start in the first half. And really, I kind of already mentioned this already, but it was just slow offensive production. I mean, the first 5 drives of the game for us, 4 of them were punts, and then the 5th one was a kneel down to end the half. So nothing going in the first half. But then we came out in the second half on our first 4 drives. We had 3 touchdowns in a row and then a field goal, which had already reduced the deficit to a 3-point game into the fourth quarter. But then I also mentioned how our secondary really recovered from the rough start they had in the first quarter. It just felt like we weren't able to match up at all with the Falcons receivers and that we got outplayed by them. I mean, Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley were making some really great plays and just getting separation, it seemed like, on a lot of those plays, which really helped the Falcons move down the field really efficiently, even though they weren't able to produce any run game whatsoever. But then in the second half, we got it turned around with Brady getting hot and leading the troops, giving us the charge to go on a 31-10 second half run and come out of this game with a very important win. Leonard Fournette, I thought, was not going to do much, and I thought, as I mentioned earlier, that Ronald Jones was going to be a huge loss for us in this game. But Leonard Fournette did step up in the second half, giving us 2 touchdowns. And of course, this comeback wouldn't have been possible without our defense making key stops. They had 2 3-and-outs in a row, which then led to scoring drives. So, of course, the defense making the stops was going to only help Tom Brady drive the offense down the field and give us a better chance to win this game. All right, so now with this key victory in the division, let's look at the playoff picture and what this means. This was actually a really key win considering of what else happened across the league in this week, as we got some really big, much-needed help in our quest for the number 5 seed, as the New York Jets got their first win of the season somehow, someway, against the Rams. So the Seahawks take over first place in the NFC West. They are now the 3 seed. Rams drop to the 5 seed. They have the same record as us now at 9-5, but obviously with that game we lost to them on Monday Night Football a few weeks ago, they had the tiebreaker over us. But that's okay because all we need to do is win our last 2 games, which we play the Lions coming up on Saturday, and then the Falcons again at home. And then all the Rams would have to do would be to lose to the Seahawks next week, which will pretty much decide the division title. So the Rams lose that game, and we win out we will claim the number 5 seed, and that is the easiest possible scenario for us getting in the most favorable playoff position that we possibly can. I think this is definitely doable, so we're going to be rooting hard for the Seahawks this week, but we also got to do our job and take care of the Lions and Falcons coming up. But we've definitely made an important step, and we got the help that we've needed so far, so hopefully we can get it done. But that's pretty much going to do it for this video. Let me know what you thought about the game and this week's action in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video, which should be coming out on Christmas Day. But if not, Merry Christmas, everybody, and thank you for watching. And as always, go Bucs.